So a divorce coach is actually a certified position. It's a certification that's given, and it's part of the American Bar Association. So a lot of people are familiar with mediators, except for mediators will work with both parties to try to settle it, where a coach is there for the help that one individual. So you only work with one side. And I like to say I help people through the story of divorce so that they can get ready for the business of divorce.
Hey everyone, you're watching the Lively Charleston Podcast. Our goal with the show is to interact with and tell the stories of the amazing people, places, and businesses that make Charleston the best city in the world.
If you haven't already, make sure to subscribe to iTunes, Spotify, and YouTube.
And check us out on Instagram and Facebook, where we post content regularly throughout the week. Thanks so much, guys. Hope you enjoy the episode.
I'm super excited to introduce my guest here today, Alice Emerson. She is evolving. I've known you for quite some time. I don't know. It's been kind of a whirlwind. I don't even know how long I've known you, but it's been a great ride so far. And she has on a journey. She's gone from IRS agent to tax advisor to now a divorce/life coach. And now, everyone, she has written a fantastic book, Divorcing My Beliefs, Experiencing God Outside of Religion. Y'all check this out. Where can they find this book?
They find it at divorcingmybeliefs.com. You get it there, and it's also published on Amazon. But check out divorcingmybeliefs.com.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
That gives a little bit of a background there, and then, you can get on my mailing list for when I, get things going and, sharing outside of just the book. But yeah.
Right.
Great programs to come.
Very good. Very good. So your personal evolving, right? And little girl from New Jersey.
Yeah.
Grew up in Jersey.
Yeah.
And you ended up here 13 years ago?
13 years ago, moved here. Moved around for a while with an IRS career and with my ex-husband's IRS career. So, yeah, It was a match made in the IRS. So, interesting. Yeah, interesting evolution from that. So, he was my second marriage. So, I've been married twice, divorced twice. So, I joke that I can't be marriage counselor, so why not be a divorce coach?
You're an expert.
I'm an expert, yeah. Actually, I have a lot of wisdom that could probably help a lot of people save relationships, so yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Mm-hmm. Very cool. So you've been in Charleston for 13 years. Where else have you been, like, in your lifetime? What forms... I'm curious to dive in, maybe a little bit to your childhood, and because I'm sure probably there's some beliefs in there that were created.
Oh, yes. As a matter of fact, it became bestseller in the inner child category. So it's a great question. There are a lot of beliefs. I mean, my mom was married several times. And I'm number 7 in my family. So all of us, for my mom and my dad together, but they divorced very young. So when I was very young. And so, yeah, there was a lot of moving around. I know gypsy isn't a term we're supposed to use, but it was a joke in my family that my mom was kind of like a gypsy. Okay. And we would move a lot, but I learned to be very friendly and outgoing, and just like the next person I would meet would be my new best friend. So that was kind of a benefit that, came along with it. But we moved often, spent some time in Boston, New Hampshire, Texas until I was in high school, and then I went back to New Jersey. So I got a little bit of Southern, a little bit of Jersey girl in there. Okay. Yeah, a little bit of that going on. So there were a lot of belief systems and that were developed because my mom being raised Catholic. And, my dad was Methodist, and then she brought us down south to Texas, and then it was Southern Baptist. So there's a lot of belief systems that were in the church, but also just in the family. Right. There were some family rules that you just followed,
Really? Like what's something? Like,
something,
give us a glimpse.
So there were some good ones, like obviously, we may not have been rich in money, but we were rich in love, so the real focus was always on relationships. But then there was kind of an unhealthy one as well that stuck with me forever, which was what happens in this house stays in this house. Oh. So that can be really dangerous if there's any kind of, abuse going on and that sort of thing. So, so those are just a couple of the belief systems.
Yeah. We don't have to get into that, but that happens. I get that. I hear about that a lot. I've had some guests on there that, and just friends, just people you talk about who are just like, oh, my family was just so perfect on the outside, but on the inside, oh, you just wouldn't believe. And just everything just looks so perfect all the time.
All the time.
You know?
And it's living unauthentic like that actually, can halt you from living a full and happy life because you're not being true to yourself. So a lot of my journey was learning to love myself. So that's the first and most important relationship,
Yeah.
And because sometimes we're not given the permission to be, honest with ourselves and true, even into the weirdo maybe that you are. And, I like to sing and I can't. I can't carry a tune, as my mom used to say, I couldn't carry a tune in a bucket,
Yeah.
But I do it anyway, because
Totally.
it brings me joy and it's fun. And
Where do you sing?
Yeah.
In the shower?
Oh, in the shower, in the living room, it doesn't matter.
In the
If
car?
we're out, there's a concert in my car every day.
Totally. I'm actually have somebody like I have set aside to like help me with voice lessons. I'm gonna sing in front of a crowd. It's like one of my bucket list things I'm gonna do. You wait, people. Just wait. I'm coming at you. Okay, so moving around a lot. Was that military or just?
No, it was definitely my mom's
just
gypsy lifestyle, and it was always kind of just to get a little personal about my journey, which in my book I'm very, very personal. I'm very vulnerable, transparent, may not be for everybody, that they would want to do this, but I found that it was freeing,
Sure.
just to, be transparent. So yes, my mom was married 5 times and she died when she was 54. So that was a lot. That was a whole lot of, love and a whole lot of change in my life, but
Right.
we moved around a lot.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So would you say it's safe to say that moving around a lot and having friends and moving away from friends, and did that develop any beliefs or anything in your life that maybe you can talk about now?
Wow, that's a great question. Yeah, I think a lot of times you think that nothing is permanent. You get this belief system like, okay, here we go. You know what I mean? That there isn't anything really solid and trustworthy.
Yeah.
Especially in the love category. Especially there, because it's, if you don't really get to see and experience something that's true and solid and can,
Right.
last through the hard times as well, and see people do that. It's really a great gift if you can give that to your family. But from, those choices that my mom made and that my parents, step-parents and all, they made, they're their decisions. So eventually I was able to release myself from the shame and the guilt that was around it, that, okay, here's my mom's next husband. You know what I mean? Which as a teen kind of felt that way.
Oh, wow.
I took on a lot of guilt and shame from that. And we can also get that from our belief systems that come from doctrine. My mom was kicked out of a Catholic church, which not everybody understands excommunication from a church, but because she married my dad, my natural father.
I've never heard of that.
Methodist. Yeah, so this might have been only a Jersey thing. I don't know, but she was removed from the church because she married outside the Catholic religion.
Just excommunicate.
Excommunicate. That's it. You're out. Yeah.
Wow.
So I mean,
but I don't know a whole lot about Catholicism. I don't. My grandfather was Irish Protestant, so. We just didn't talk about that when he was around. But anyway, it wasn't a huge thing. But
but they really do develop us, though.
Yeah.
Religious beliefs, and then they become your family beliefs, and they become who you are.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of times, if I say to people, even this, putting experiencing God outside of religion in here. With one of the publishers that I had spoken to, there was a little concern about putting God in there because it's really not a religious book. It's actually it's not leaving God. It's just experiencing him outside of religion. So I left the church to go experience some things that I just hadn't explored before because they were on the no list, and I ended up with a cancer diagnosis after being finally divorced and living life, and bought my own house, and was just so excited. My boys were in college, and my daughter's with me, and we shared custody and all that. But it was just like the time to really excel,
right,
and get to redefine myself and what I wanted to do. And then I got a cancer diagnosis. And so that really is what took me on a journey. Like, oh, come on, God! Like, I've done everything that I know to be right. Mm-hmm. And I still feel like I'm fighting. And I was just tired for a moment, So I get into that journey, and that's kind of how that went. And, the message was kind of clear, like, this is for me, not from me. Mm-hmm. And so it depends on what I do with this story. And so I went on a holistic journey.
Okay.
And,
yeah, because that's what was where I was going to have another question to kind of dive into that. Is like, how did you deal with that diagnosis? And so went the holistic route.
Mm-hmm. The holistic route, and then went to Costa Rica, moved there for about a month. Okay. And on that journey, I had already been in a detox. I do this every January. I go to dry January, but this time I bought a juicer, and I had these detox specialists that were joining me, and we were on a roll. I was ready, I had gained weight, typical holiday thing, and was probably partying too much and that sort of thing, enjoying the freedom of just, being able to do whatever I want to do, right? Kids are dead, and I get to go. And so I knew it was time. I had already, I knew it was time to do this detox journey. And it was during that, first 2 weeks that I got the cancer diagnosis. So I was already in this holistic group with this leadership, with these specialists. And there are no accidents in life, right? So when I got the diagnosis, we just went ahead and I said, okay, I don't really want to do chemo. I don't want to do the surgery because it was, this is kind of personal, but it was vaginal cancer. So they would have to go in and, scope some areas and stuff. And I was like, that does not sound pleasing at all. So I asked them if they were ready to take this journey with me. So that's what we did. And it included a lot of things that I would never have tried before. So it's also another divorcing of a belief system that only the medical treatment can save you. I had a very early diagnosis, so I was really, really fortunate. Like, it's not for everybody, but doing holistic, even if you do the medical route, you can't go wrong. Mm-hmm. You can't. And so then when I came home from this journey, and I'm still waiting for the doctor's clearance, but I was there for a month, I had started the Holistic Chamber of Commerce, and that's here now in the Charleston metro area.
Yes, so you are...
It birthed.
Okay, so that's how you ended up. I mean, not ended up, but I mean, that's how that started for you. Because I know you're a big part of that, right? You're like, president of the center, right?
Yes. President of the Holistic Chamber of Commerce, which this chapter is the Charleston Metro. And I love it. I love the message of it. I want holistic to be more mainstream, not to be looked at as weird or, woo-woo.
Voodoo.
Yeah, right? That I'm only healing with crystals and, tarot cards and things like that. It's not that. It's really about tapping into the body's ability to heal itself. And so there are different modalities that allow that. And I used a few things that I would have never, tried before.
Yeah.
Yeah, so.
Interesting. So somebody who is in that realm, who is doing business and doing Reiki or whatever that might be, holistic healings, what is the center? What does it do for them?
The Chamber of
Chamber of Commerce. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, I would love to open a holistic center. We've put a few things out there, like a holistic hospital, actually. So thanks for bringing that up.
Yeah.
We're going to go ahead and manifest that for the Charleston area. The Chamber of Commerce is like any other Chamber of Commerce if you're dealing with and serving the holistic community. So we do have mortgage rep, attorneys in there, real estate agents. So they're not all healers. They can serve our holistic community, though. So they know and understand the holistic community. You could even be a member here with Lively Charleston.
Yeah, okay.
Because I know you understand this, you know, energetically being able to understand when people, let's say, for instance, want to buy a house, right? And they want to make sure that they have the outdoor living that they want, or maybe the house just didn't feel right because the energy didn't feel right. Some other agents might start getting annoyed with that, but if you understand that a person really has to energetically, you know, fit, and they follow their intuition, then you can understand that community if that's the way they, you know, decide that they want to shop for a house. It has to fit.
So interesting. So, I do. You know, that's what keeps the lights on and the mics on for this thing is real estate. So it is interesting, you know, how when we're out doing what we do, we do get different people who are like, oh, this house has good energy, or, you know, so it's interesting. It's a thing. It's a thing. It's not as uncommon as one might think. I mean, people, I think, as we're coming out of COVID, or maybe we're still right smack in the middle of it. I don't know. But
we don't have to wear a mask right now, so that's progress. Nice. We're coming out.
Yeah. So I don't know. I'd like to think we're coming out of it, right? So, but in this COVID era of COVID, more and more people are searching and looking and getting out into other avenues or energies, I should say. So
I have to say that COVID actually did open up more of an audience to the holistic lifestyle, because it also then became a really hot, you know, hashtag and, you know, selling point. Even those that aren't really holistic, they know it's a key word, because a lot of people, you were on one side of the coin or the other. Either you're all for the treatments or going home and taking nothing, or, you know, empowering your body to be able to fight something, anything, you know, viruses and such. So there's no guarantee by following a holistic lifestyle that you won't get COVID, because it doesn't discriminate, right?
Sure.
But a lot of people started following that route. So COVID kind of helped this community. It's almost 3 years old. Next month is when it was May of 2019. That we started. So the third birthday is coming up. So COVID actually helped. I mean, it wasn't good for meetings, because we like to exchange.
Sure.
We like to see people face to face and, you know, really exchange stories in life and looking for the best client. So honestly, there's a great community of like-minded people, which makes it really nice. And then you get really good organic referrals, because you're in a crowd of people that really do want to serve you.
Cool.
You know, it's not like a normal networking where you just go and you're like, look at me, and, you know, here's this, and what can you do for me?
Right.
It's a little bit of a different
It's
mindset.
reverse. It's like, what can I do for you?
Yeah.
And that's what they say, you know, that's the way to do it anyway. But okay, I'm going to flip the script a little bit.
Go ahead.
Using the COVID platform, though, but we're going to flip it instead of, you know, out of the holistic realm and into the divorce realm. Okay, because that is one thing. It's one of the words in your book. And then I know COVID is with people being together a lot, or the tense situations that it causes a lot of the D word.
Yes. And it doesn't mean that I'm an advocate for divorce, but when people decide to go that route, divorce was huge. People were not used to being together. They didn't have the coping skills to share so much close space and time together. And so a lot of people, you know, can ignore it. You can ignore issues in your relationships as long as you are apart long enough and you go to work, and distractions, right? Distractions either, you know, can keep you together, or maybe it's what caused you to not be able to stay together. But yes, COVID really was a very, very tense time. So divorce became much more to the forefront. I had already been on the journey to be a divorce coach. Soon after I got divorced, I thought, wow, I could have done so much better, like with my emotions, things that were coming up.
I was about to say, what do you mean?
Yeah, I could have done so much better in just the way I presented myself, and probably some of the things I'd said and done have ruined relationships. with even ruined relationship with the father of my children, just because it was so tense. And now graduations are happening. Eventually marriages will happen, and it's still tense. So at that point, I thought, you know what? If I had had a divorce coach to help me manage those emotions, I could have been a better client for my attorney, and I could have been better to my future self. So my future self being the mom who has to go, have to have separate parties.
That has to keep moving forward.
Yeah, the children usually suffer.
And not live in the past and stay in the present and, and all that.
I could give you a whole checklist. Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you mentioned the kids. That's
during divorce, always keep the kids first. What's best for them? Because, in the end, it's not their divorce.
Yeah.
Right. You guys aren't divorcing the children. You're divorcing each other. So make sure that they know, and they shouldn't be used as pawns and your mother this or your father that, Yeah. It's easy to do that. But so if you have a coach, you have somebody that you can vent to, that you can help. And then we have programs that help you, really
zip the lip in the moment. Try to just be like, just
text
lock
me. I got
lock it down.
An exclusive plan where it's unlimited for, just shoot me the message. Don't shoot it off out of your mouth. Sometimes you can't take words back.
Yeah, for sure. What, what is it? I guess I'm trying to figure out how do people get in touch with you, I guess, and or are there attorneys that you work with, or how are you finding your clients currently?
Currently, it's word of mouth.
Okay.
And people know a lot of social media. People, respond well to that and make appointments. I have a calendar, and we have discovery appointments. See if we're a fit. I'm not a fit for everybody, and not everybody's a fit for me either.
Okay.
So alicescalendar.com will get you on my calendar, actually.
Alicescalendar.com.
That's it. I bought the website, put my calendar up on there, and so it takes you right to my calendar. And
That's awesome.
It is. It's great. I even have, Alice's Zoom. So when we have to meet, it automatically puts you to my Zoom, and we can do that from anywhere. So Divorce to Recovery is the name of my business, Divorce to Recovery.
Okay.
And with the number 2, divorce2recovery.com is my website. And people can look there and figure out, if I seem like I'd be a fit for them. But there's some good blog points on there as well of what to expect when you're divorcing and what is a divorce coach. So I could tell you exactly what a divorce coach is in general terms if you'd like.
Yeah, that would be fantastic.
Yeah, so a divorce coach is actually a certified position. It's a certification that's given, and it's part of the American Bar Association. So a lot of people are familiar with mediators. Well, mediators are found under the Alternative Dispute Resolution Program of the ABA, of the American Bar Association. Well, so are coaches, except for mediators will work with both parties to try to settle it, where a coach is there for the help that one individual. So you only work with one side. Mm-hmm. And I like to say I help people through the story of divorce so that they can get ready for the business of divorce. And that includes before, during, and after, because I found a lot of people get stuck after. So other people are just reaching out to find out whether they should stay or go, and what does it really look like? Like, what does my future really look like if I go through this? What can I expect? So I get some of those calls. But most of the time people like to have that quick text to be able to say, oh my gosh, he just sent me this, or she just did this. Can you believe this? And just to be, accessible.
Be objective.
Yes.
You can take them out of that tense, feeling that they're in, and maybe just, help them be more objective.
So
does that sound right?
Yeah, there's a lot of emotional support there to help diffuse that and to be your advocate. Basically, that's what I am. But in addition to that, for, why attorneys like us, coaches to be involved, for me to be involved specifically, is because they get what they need to be able to represent you well, rather than weeding through all of the emotional, whether phone calls, messages, emails. they're weaving through all of that. They're charging a lot more than I would charge, which I'm sure they don't mind doing that. But ultimately, they have so many cases, they really would rather represent you well and be able to take on more clients and represent them with.
Would it be fair to say the attorneys need just black and white? They just need black and white, factual, provable stuff.
They do.
The emotional part, I'm sure it's part of it, but I'm sure they would much less prefer to have someone like yourself, handle that part.
It's true.
Yeah.
It's true because they know the court systems. They kind of know what to expect and how things work. This is not their first rodeo, but it's probably your first rodeo, right, in divorce. So we're very emotional when we go through it, where attorneys and such are like, okay, I understand, I feel, but they can't get stuck there with you because they need to get to the business of it. So there's a nice transition there. And I'm actually looking to partner with and do like for 4 sessions with attorneys, even financial planners, other people, because I have a big background, of course, with 20 years in the IRS, understanding some of these things. So when you have clients that are going through it and they need to, I stay in my lane. I can't practice law and I can't practice, taxes either. I have to stay in my coaching lane. But I have enough knowledge to be able to say, this would be a good question to write down, or have you considered this, or do you have this? Bring this to your attorney. So we make lists and help fill out paperwork. Like the financial decks to make sure you don't miss anything. And, there's a lot that's involved.
Yeah.
And just to have that person available to you.
Sure.
That makes it so much easier. You shouldn't go through it alone. And so I say, before you even talk to a friend or a coworker or a family member about divorce, you should call me first, because you can get a lot of bad information. And plus, they are pro you. So they're going to be just as emotional. So just to make sure that you're getting, good up to date.
I think that's the perfect thing to say. Absolutely. And then what is kind of your, what you say, we are here for the before, during, and the after.
Yes.
Is that kind of your tagline?
It is. Before, during, and after. And let me help you get through the story of divorce to prepare for the business of it. Yep. And then the after is my favorite, because especially if I work through the whole process with people, they're prepared for the afterlife, to stop telling the story. I have met people who are still telling the story 6 years, 8 years later, and they haven't moved on because, I don't know if y'all saw my post the other day where I was like, okay, on a first date, do not just spend the whole time ditching your ex or talking about your divorce. So there's this whole process that even afterwards to unlock yourself from the chains of that marriage, the troubles of the marriage, and then the divorce process. Although it's a part of you, that's important, but it's not all of you. It's just something that you've been through. So you get to redefine yourself, and that part is really exciting. And you get to, just because he said it or she said it, there's a lot of these ugly things that get said, or you wouldn't be where you are, right? There's a lot of undoing, unbecoming to become something new. So you got to divorce a lot of things.
Sure.
Yeah.
Your book, would that be something you would recommend to somebody before? I don't know. I'm sure because you say you're not all for divorce, and I'm sure there's just something that you say to people to just be like, hey, stop a minute, breathe.
There is a lot in here that can be for any stage of it. I say, the reason I love that this on the first day was in the inner child portion, because there are a lot of things that we take into our marriage, and I wish that I could get to people even in their college days, or before they get married, before they even think of it, because a lot of times we aren't who we are supposed to be. We haven't really gotten in touch with who we are, defined who we are, and now we're going to share our life with somebody, and do we even know who we're sharing? Right. So a lot of people look for another person to complete them. So I say, yes, this would be perfect for somebody. It's not a how-to book.
Sure. Right.
It's not at all. If you read this, you're going to really know me pretty intimately, and whether or not you like me or not, whether or not you want to work with me. But I guarantee you, it's an inspiring story, but it is really, truly about having a relationship with yourself.
Yeah.
So I think no matter what stage of life you're in, that's so important. So whether it's a divorce conversation or maybe even before you consider getting married, I think it's really good. I have 18-year-olds that have read it.
Great advice.
And have gotten things out of it.
Great advice. Mm-hmm. Alice, thank you so much for coming in. This has been super enlightening. Hey, everybody. Alice Emerson, Divorcing My Beliefs. Allison, where can they find this? Let's recap one more time. Where can they find you again? Best way?
Best way for the book is divorcingmybeliefs.com. You can find me you can get on my calendar at alicescalendar.com. But my business is Divorce to Recovery. And it's divorcetorecovery.com. So I'm all over social media, Alice Emerson. And so thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely.
This has been fun.
Yes.
Do I have 2 seconds?
Yes.
Initially, this
3,
was
2,
2, 1, but bye. This initially was going to be an interview of people and their divorce situations and the do's and don'ts, right? It was going to be a lead book. You want this book, buy it, come see me, I'll be your coach. But those notes got lost, and so this book was birthed because this was originally the book that was supposed to be given. But I do have 3 mistakes, that a lot of people make in their divorce and how to avoid them, and that's a giveaway that I'm giving. Okay. And so more giveaways will be coming.
All right.
Yeah, so thank you again.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Hey y'all, that's a wrap on today's episode. Thanks so much for watching. We hope you enjoyed it. Make sure to like or follow or subscribe, whatever platform you're on, just hit the button to make sure you don't miss any future episodes.
Yep, and please help us grow the channel by sharing it with someone else who might enjoy it as well. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.